Wow.
Damn.
All right. Welcome, everybody. We are live. Welcome to another BRAP this fine Wednesday evening. Yeah, I'm supposed to get more snow tomorrow. That kind of sucks. But
Beautiful.
yeah, it is what it is. But happy to be back. We got J-Man in the house. We got Forte. We have a great show. We're a little light tonight. We're still waiting for Slow-Mo. Down 2 men this evening, but that's all right. We got plenty to talk about. But on that note, let's officially get the show kicked off right now. Gotta say, I love that intro every Wednesday.
And
Never. Yeah. Big shout out to Graphic God put that together for us. Yeah, it's great intro. On that note, let's make some quick introductions. We have a long, or actually a returning guest, long overdue. I think like we had him on like 2 years ago. We have for the Press Start podcast, we have J-Man in the house. Jay, what is going on? Welcome back to BRAP, sir.
Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody? J-Man, of course, back. Check it in with the Basement Radio Arcade podcast, man. A couple scheduling conflicts had made this, a little bit difficult in the past, but we made it happen. You made it happen. I appreciate you for having me on. I always like talking games with people that I respect and opinions that I respect. So, let's get into it.
Yeah, and it's nice actually talking to people who actually play games. Oh
Lord, we do that in this community. I ain't know.
Yeah, it's a thing. As I'm playing around with
the novelty or something.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think some people out there, I don't know if they're playing games.
There's definitely some people out there not playing games.
Yeah, but So no, it's like I said, long overdue. Great to have you back on, man. And it's funny, we've had every member of Press Start podcast on BRAP. The last panel member we had was Alex. We had Alex on last time.
Oh yeah,
and Alex had us dying.
Alex, listen. Alex is I remember the first time we had him on Press Start when we first started this show years ago. And we didn't even have like a dedicated group. It was kind of just like me, Kofi, and Jack at the time. And it was like after that first episode that he was on, we was like, yo, we got to have Alex as a permanent member. Like it wasn't even a question that he was going to be a permanent member when we were starting to talk about who we're going to have on. And if you ever want to, if you think Alex is uncut on gaming podcast, y'all got to check out Off the Record. It's our Patreon show. You can get it for $1. This man is something special, dog. He really is.
I bet. Yeah, he was telling people, like, because we're talking about PC, right? Because I do game on PC, and we're talking about the whole PC thing. He was like, he told like constant people, just stay in your lane, just stay. We don't want you here,
right?
Like, and I forget how he said it, but the way he was saying it though was so funny. Just like his whole cadence,
right?
Like his cadence is hilarious. He was, and then we've had Kofi on and Jack. All those guys are funny.
Yes, sir.
You guys have a funny show. Like I laugh. They are some. Let me tell you, there are some classic moments. Classic. One in particular. I won't get into the details. And you probably know what I'm talking about, Jay, because we talked about this on Crossfire. I think before we went live when you were on Crossfire a couple weeks ago. When OBJ the Don.
Oh, the one that I was in that. I was literally watching show live, and I was like, "Yo,
right. And I think Jay, I think you even fell out of your chair, literally.
No, he did fall out of his chair.
Yeah. It was like that.
Jack Woo's his headset fell off. Kofi got up and ran off screen.
Yeah, Kofi did run.
Kofi up here saying for like 10 minutes in a row in the podcast, and he's the person who's got the button.
Yes, I remember that. Oh, he's like in the pod. I'm like, dog, you the host.
Oh man, every time I think of that moment, I was like, yo, bro. And then you watch Alex Alex's face on it. It's like you couldn't tell if he was just shocked that he went there, or he was just like, "That's exactly what I wanted."
Yeah, that's what made that moment so hilarious. Is because OBJ took it to Alex's level, and I was laughing because I'm like, why does Alex look so surprised in this moment when this is his bag, this is his lane, like this is what he does. But I just think he didn't expect it from OBJ like that.
Oh,
like, OBJ was
no.
embracing it.
Yo, OBJ went in for the kill. My man, like it's funny, like you're right. Like I don't think you said like OBJ was his lane. Like you could see I could envision OBJ rubbing his hands together.
Right.
It's like, oh, it's on now. Like you just. Like you just have no idea what you just walked into, and OBJ let him. It was so when he said you look pretty. I was like, I'm done. That was.
It's something about Alex and PlayStation guys that just get him riled up, man. I remember we had Persona and Jay Barrio on one time.
Yeah.
And it was like the Doublemint twins versus Alex. They was just like tag teaming them off the ropes and everything. Like it was just coming from all angles, man. Every time something good PlayStation happens, we got to get like the PlayStation guys in there to rile up Alex. It's hilarious.
Yeah. I was sitting there and I was talking to Slow-Mo about it a while ago, and I was like, 2020 sucked, but I was like, yo, that moment probably was the funnest moment of 2020 in podcast. It's like because it's just like he brung it up. It's kind of one of those things you just like kind of just forget. And then as soon as it's mentioned, I didn't even know exactly what he was saying just now. But as soon as he said Obi, I said, "Oh, I already know what this is." It's one of those things that's going to go down, man. And I'm super happy that happened on y'all guys' podcast because you guys deserve all of the accolades that you guys get on there because you guys put up a great show all the time. So
yeah, you guys really do put up a great show.
That was just funny to see, man. It was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That was a classic moment in podcasting history, as I say. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about today. A lot of stuff going on in the gaming industry. I want to give a big shout out to everyone in the live chat. If you haven't done so, hit that like button, and actually, if you could be so kind, retweet the link to the show. And we're going to talk about Nintendo. Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct today. We're going to give our impressions on that.
Did they really?
Yeah, they did. Well, yeah. Yeah. We're talking about Marvel's Avengers coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. And E3 2021, Reggie, I can never pronounce his last name. Fils-Aimé, yeah. Was not too thrilled or impressed by E3 2020, E3's plans for 2021. And then also, we're going to talk about some Xbox Series X updates, which we should actually talk about right now since this is something that just came out today. Microsoft's new frames per second boost mode for Xbox Series X and S can double frame rates in games. Imagine that. So yeah, this is a cool feature. I think you get to play some of your older games at higher frames. I think for some people who are fans of certain games, this could be an opportunity for them to go back and enjoy. Because look, there's something to be said for playing games at higher frames. For example, when I played Sekiro on PlayStation 4, I hated it.
Right.
When the PC version came out, and I heard it was 60 FPS, woo! I mean, Jay, different game. Literally. Like, that 60 FPS locked was like, oh my gosh, this is how this game was intended to be played.
I couldn't even imagine playing that game at less than 60 just because like something like that with the whole reaction time and the deflections and having to master that system, like frames per second matters so much in that situation. But I definitely played that game on PC. So like when it came to the console version, I wasn't even thinking about touching it. So seeing something like FPS boost, we get on Microsoft a lot about the newer titles and the AAA bangers and exclusives. But one thing we can't deny about Microsoft is that they put the work and the effort in on making sure that the system is fully packed with features, stuff like auto HDR and this FPS boost stuff is dope, especially in this time too, because I ain't gonna front. I'm playing a lot of old games in this time. You know, it's a little, you know what I mean? It's a little dry out here for me. So for people like myself, this is a dope feature, man. I can't dog on it for this.
Yeah, it's a nice feature. Like I said, it's one that's like if you go back and there's games that we all love. And this is just another way for us to experience some of the games at a higher frames, and it will make a difference. Like it really is game changing. Like I was streaming Bloodborne last night, and I kept thinking to myself, "My God, this game needs like a frame rate boost." Because Dark Souls 3 has 60 FPS now on consoles. Sekiro has 60 frames per second. And you're right. Like you talk about Sekiro, it literally, like when I was playing, when I went to the PC version, I felt like I was cheating because like I was like, oh my God, everything's working. Like, my deflection, everything was just on point because
you could definitely block it better and pair it easier.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see it coming more. Yeah,
exactly. You can pause. But
I mean, The Weeknd made a great song off of that.
So this and this sounds like it's just like Microsoft, the secret program. Paul, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. Paul Eng, a senior program manager at Xbox, says they're going to announce some more titles featuring the FPS boost soon, and they're going to roll out some new menu icons, which actually I think is something like one of the complaints I've had about Game Pass is there not enough like Xbox, like the XS icons. There's not enough games with that take advantage
to support both systems.
Yeah, so it's good that we're going to see some more games out of that. But it looks like the first games supported are going to be Far Cry 4, Super Lucky's Tale.
Super Lucky's Tale, not even the original.
Yeah, that one I think is 120 FPS too.
Yep, 4K 120.
I think so. Yeah. Now I will say this for all you console gamers that come out as PC guys and say PC's expensive. There's one caveat to this.
Oh yeah, here it comes.
You know what's coming, Forte.
I do.
You want that 120 FPS? Woo! You're gonna have to pay for it. And what I mean by pay, you're gonna have to upgrade that television set if you haven't done so already.
$1,000.
Minimum $1,000.
Yes.
Minimum $1,000.
Yep.
Right? So people say, "Oh, PC's expensive. It's so expensive. A console $500." Yeah, $500 plus that $1,000 TV you just picked up.
Facts. I see everybody buying a new TV before the new consoles came out. So I already know people spent that money to get that HDMI 2.1 and 120 hertz and all that other jazz, VRR. Like everybody was buying a new TV. So I don't want to hear nothing about PCs too expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but people, well, I watch TV shows. It's on my TV, so it's not just for gaming. I watch movies on it. They
watch Lost in Space on it.
I'm like, okay.
I just finished Lost in Space.
Yeah. The point is, like my man Slow-Mo Backslap says, is that if you want great gaming experience, it's going to cost you money, whether it's on console or PC.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I see those people out there getting those CXs. I'm not mad at them. It's actually C10, by the way. It's not a CX. But I see people buying the C10s, and I mean, what was the 55-inch going out for now, J-Man? 1,300?
1,300.
13, yeah, it's on sale right now. 1,350.
Or you buy 48.
Yeah, yep. So or you get the 40, but you buy, let's say you buy the Series X, it's $500, new TV. You're looking at about almost $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're spending more for that Series X right now.
Yeah.
Even if you go to a retailer again, you spending more because those bundles, $700 minimum.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, those bundles. I didn't think about that. So
$700 minimum ain't gonna change until April either.
Yeah. So we got a Sniper Elite, UFC 4, Watch Dogs 2.
That's a weird one right there. UFC.
Yeah, Watch Dogs 2 is kind of.
Well, Watch Dogs 2 it was an Xbox. It was actually enhanced for Xbox One. No, actually, that one wasn't enhanced for Xbox One X. They didn't get the frame rate boost. PlayStation did. They got it up to 1800p, 30 frames per second. Xbox was capped at 900p, 30 frames per second. So now we can get up to It can get up to 60 frames, but it's still locked at 900p.
Gotcha.
Which is great, just because it's still running off the original Xbox source code, not the One X.
So I'm assuming this like Xbox FPS boost is kind of doing stuff on top of these games, not really like going in and.
No, they're not doing anything to the code of the game. That was the beauty of it. The developers don't have to go in and do anything to the source code of the game themselves. Xbox themselves is going in and doubling the frame rate or tripling it in some aspects. It's not touching resolution at all. So whatever the resolution was based at, it stays at that resolution. That's why you can see a game like New Super Lucky's Tale. That game got when they put out the new version of it that was on the Switch, they made it 4K 60 on the Xbox One X, and now they can put it up to 120 and it still doesn't lose the 4K because it was already there. So all you're seeing is whatever version came out for that game, the highest end version that it ran at, it runs at that same version resolution wise on the X and the S. The one thing that's cool though, the S is doing exactly the same thing as the X. I think the only game it wasn't doing that in was Sniper Elite. They did have some frame drops on the S compared to the X, was running at a rock solid 60 frames per second. But if you but that was the only game that dropped. So the resolution and the frame rate was pretty much across the board 60 or 120 on all those games you played. So it really benefits you to get an S if you're just playing the older games. And then if you're getting, once the newer titles and stuff comes out, that's when you'll see a bigger delta between those two systems.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's the other game I was going to talk about too is the was a UFC 4, because that's an older game, right? Like that came out
last year or 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
It was the last UFC, which is the weird one because they actually have an X version of that game. And that's why it's running at 4K 60, because it already ran at 4K 30. So it's just another instance where whatever version they decided to code the game at, either through just upgrading with the X or the PS5 Pro, it's just basically taking that source code and doubling whatever they did on the frame rate.
Gotcha. Yeah. Let me ask you something. With this new feature set, are there any games that you would like to see get this FPS boost?
I would say Mass Effect, but we're getting that anyway. So
yeah, I was just saying Mass Effect. Yeah,
shout out to Solid Rev. He did a video on it. He was going through his list of games saying 30 frames per second. I was like, yo, Mass Effect on that list. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Mass Effect Legendary is just coming out literally in like a month and a half, 2 months. So we're going to get that on there anyways. But there's a couple. I mean, you got to think all the tried and true games that Xbox pretty much has in their staple, like Gears and Halo and stuff. All that stuff has already been pretty much redone on the system already. You know, even the Ultimate Edition of the first Gears of War, that runs at 60. So pretty much everything that they already have in their first party does it. It just comes down to what third party games you care about, you know, to actually take advantage of that. I think Spec Ops the Line, because I actually want to get back into that game, will be a very big candidate for that, because a lot of people haven't played that game, and that's one of the best story-driven first-person action shooters you could play. Shout out to Slow-Mo because he's here, because I know he just beat it. But that game is phenomenal, and it only runs at I don't know what the resolution is, but it only runs at 30 frames per second. And I think that game is still on sale inside the Xbox store right now, and it might be in Game Pass too.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that need to play that game. It keeps coming up in conversation, especially these past few weeks. I'm just like, damn, that's a sign right there. And then you just mentioned it. Like, people say that story is amazing.
Yo, what up, fellas? Like, I apologize. I just woke up, man. You know that I watched. Hey, look. I'm sorry. No I watched that Nintendo Direct, and I'll be right on that.
Yo, I fell asleep during that shit too.
I had no idea it was going to be like that, man. Best NyQuil I ever had in my life, man. I'm telling you, I've had insomnia for like a week.
Yo,
to care of that, it's the cure. Wow, it's that good stuff, you know. Like, man, I mean, I don't know. That's how they intended things to be, but that's how it turned out. Good grief!
Oh my
One good game, 50 minutes.
Keep you awake for 50 minutes. Lord have mercy.
50 minutes. Good grief! Hey, that's a guarantee. You got insomnia, 50 minutes or less, you will be out, man.
That. Nintendo bottle that direct up and put it in CVS. Well,
exactly. Put it in CVS. Now, I saw you guys talking Spec Ops the Line. Yo, J-Man, you never played it before?
Never played it. Never.
Oh, man. All right. So I'm not going to say anything because it's a game that you have to go in completely blind to really get the full effect of like what's going on. I'm telling you, once you finished it, you're going to be like, just kind of, it's one of those games where you kind of sit back and you just quiet for a few moments, like
right. Thinking about what just happened.
Yeah, you gotta mentally like understand everything that just happened and just try to wrap your mind around it. Like I played it on PC last year, and I made it like when I did my top games of 2020, and I always, even though it's a game that came out a gazillion years ago, I still look at it as like, where are the games you played that year? And not in there. Even though I played it back in the day, I remembered the like highlights of it, but not all the little details and the little signs of what's going on. Mm-hmm. And so when I played it again on PC, I mean, like, of course, higher frame rate. I think it's still capped. This is back when. Yeah, this is back when, like they didn't understand that, people, we want higher frame rates than 60. So it was like it's capped at 60 on PC, but still a great experience. Still really, really holds up really well. And great
right
game.
Now, too, $6. I'll pick that up.
Get that. That's well worth $6.
On Steam, really? Right now?
80% off, $6.
Oh, I'm about to pick this up as we speak. Thank you there, Slow-Mo, for that recommendation, man.
Yes,
yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, that was one of my honorable mentions. It wasn't in my top 5, but it was an honorable mention just because, man, that story is amazing, and the cover shooting still, the cover shooting is not that bad. It's an older game, so you kind of some of the elements of it, you kind of like, I've seen this before. I've seen this done better, with more fluid, with better, visuals. But it's an older game. You can't expect it to, hold up to something that came out in like 2018, 2019. But it still holds up pretty damn well. I'm sorry. What were we talking about? What we jumping?
We're just talking about the announcement by Microsoft. Some of the other games are gonna get that FPS.
Oh yeah, the FPS. Yeah. So is this something? Because I saw it, but I didn't look too far into it. Is this something kind of like how they're doing with their back-to-back games, where they bring the game back looking better with it, like the better visuals?
It's pretty much that.
So it's completely separate from the developer. The developer doesn't have to do anything.
Wow, completely separate.
That's pretty.
I don't know how they figured that out, but yeah, they're literally just. They're taking that original source code. They're not touching. The only thing that sucks is they're not touching resolution. So if the game was 900p, it's going to still be 900p.
It's almost like an either or. So because there've been, like, for example, Red Dead Redemption 1, they brought that back at 4K. Yes. 4K, native 4K, which looked really good for its time, but it was still 30 frames per second. So if they were going to do that again, they would have to make the choice. Is it either going to be 4K or is it going to be 60 frames per second? Right?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah,
but it is.
I always will take I will always take performance over resolution anyway.
Right. Because even though it looked good at 4K, those textures weren't those textures was still 2012. So 2011, whichever year Red Dead came out. So even though the visual was cleaned up, that those textures still look pretty dated. So yeah, I'll take the 60 frames over that. But yeah, but I thought that it when I initially saw it earlier this morning, it was like 6 games. Is it 5 or 6 games that they're already bringing up? One of them is like Watch Dogs 2. Which really is not that old of a game anyway. So visually, it doesn't look that ugly already.
Yeah.
And I think they already did, or at least Ubisoft already did some kind of visual upgrade to it when it came.
They did it on PlayStation, not Xbox.
They didn't do a visual upgrade on Xbox.
Yeah, I don't know why they haven't done that. It's kind of it's interesting.
Yeah, Xbox didn't get the
PlayStation.
They got they got a performance up, they got a resolution upgrade from 900. What was it? 1080p to 1800p.
Yeah,
Xbox is still showing at 900p.
PlayStation.
But now they got 60 frames.
Someone said, ew.
It has 60 frames though.
Yeah. He said, ew.
Yeah, I mean, like these 900p, you know, made me kind of shudder a little bit.
900p is kind of unless it's a Nintendo Switch type thing, it's spooky to me.
Oh, yeah, it's spooky for Nintendo Switch too. Like they get all the slander.
Oh, Lord,
but
I have to make up for all the slander Nintendo don't get, so I gotta be extra with it. My bad.
Yeah. Hey, hey, by the way, speaking of Nintendo, let's talk Nintendo since Slimo, you came in and you said, well, I think J-Man and Slimo both fell asleep as a result.
Give me a moment, because if we're gonna start talking about this again, I need to drink this Red Bull so that I don't fall asleep again. But continue, sir. Continue.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, you drink your Red Bull, J-Man. You want to grab some coffee, man, and maybe come back? Or?
You know, I put B right back in the chat. Where you think I went? You know what I'm saying? I already got it.
Here, Nintendo. He's like, coffee. I need it now.
Wow.
I knew it was on the docket. I had to make sure I was ready.
IV, just put it directly into my veins.
Yeah, directly in the veins. So, yeah, I gotta say, it wasn't Nintendo's best. Yeah, it was a snooze fest. It just, it was. You know, it's funny. I watched it towards like the very end, and I think right to the part where I forget who it was. I forget his name. The developer for I think Breath of the Wild.
I love that part. I loved it,
and I was like,
"We're so disappointed."
Oh, I was like, and I kind of knew they weren't. I knew they weren't going to show Breath of the Wild, and then I was like, well, maybe there's a chance, you know, because you always have hope, right? Like as gamers, we get excited, we get hyped, you know, about these events, and I thought, okay, maybe, just maybe, there's a chance that they'll, you know, give us an update on Breath of the Wild 2 or whatever. And he's like, yeah, we're not here to talk about Breath of the Wild 2. We just don't have anything to.
No. That's not what he said. What he said specifically was, I know that me even showing up like this,
yes,
makes you believe we're going to show you something from Breath of the Wild 2, but we aren't. I mean, I was like,
yeah, slap you right in the face.
Cackling. I was like, wow, the balls of this man. Like, just be like, yeah,
who's yawning? Someone's already yawning. We're talking about Nintendo.
My bad.
That was Jace.
Because Breath of the Wild 2 I literally was in the DMs talking with one of my best friends. He's like, yo, yeah, I'm watching this Nintendo Direct. He's like, you got any predictions? I literally said, I hope we see Breath of the Wild 2 there. And sure enough, this goofy motherfucker get on camera, and the first thing out of his mouth is, "Yeah, we ain't showing no Breath of the Wild 2 stars today." Well, get the hell off the stage! I don't care about nothing else you're talking about. Nothing else. They
wanted you to know that Skyward Sword was coming.
Man,
yeah, this other old game that you're gonna pay full price for.
It's actually a good game, though.
It's actually a good game, though.
That's a really good game.
It doesn't matter how old it.
It doesn't matter. All this game's old.
Man,
Mario Kart is the most sold game on that platform, and that is a game that released on the Wii U.
All right, wait, real quick before we get to the Nintendo finesse game, because we're gonna talk about that too, because they're gonna we know they're gonna finesse us with that game. I do want to
finesse y'all. You know,
not slow-mo. I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get
finessed on.
I'm gonna get finessed because I love Skyward Sword. All right, so some of the big announcements that I thought that came out from the show. And again, I agree with you guys. Like, that guy really just kicked everyone in the balls when he said we're not showing Breath of the Wild 2. But
it was perfect because he admitted that he knew his very presence gave them hope for a millisecond.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before snatching it away and leaving them with disappointment.
Oh, it's the biggest slap to the face.
But they decided to do it anyway. We know this disappoints you, yet here we are.
All right. What I thought the biggest announcements of the show for me were Splatoon 3, which actually,
yeah,
I don't know if a lot of people, Splatoon is actually a good shooter. Like, it's
fire.
I did hear that. Yeah,
I love Splatoon 2.
Like, J-Man, like, aren't the mechanics in that game super solid?
Yes, and like, I watch. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Nintendo Ultra, But he plays that game on another level. Like the way he has, I think like over 1,000 hours in that game. But like when I first picked up, I almost bought a Wii U for the first Splatoon because I remember I played the demo at Target and I was like, this game is fun. And I'm like, but I don't want to buy a Wii U. Like it's nothing. Like it was at the end of the console cycle and shit at that point. And I'm like, all right, Splatoon 2, I'm gonna get it on the Switch. Played it and fell in love with that damn game. But the way I saw people play that game and take it to the new levels, it just made me love and respect that game even more. It's a fun experience. It got ruined by hackers, but it's a fun experience to play.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Like it's a really, like, a lot of people don't give it props. Like it's actually like for like like people don't. I guess some people don't classify it as a shooter, but it is.
Yeah, they just don't like running around with squid heads. That's
Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
you got the goofy music, the paint,
yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
But the level designs, the gameplay mechanics are like top level, man. It's legit.
People don't.
Hey, it's a multiplayer experience. You know, like, hey, you know, at least there's a platform out there giving that to people. Oh, let me stop. I'm slandering too much.
Slow-mo was going where I was going. I ain't even have to go there.
I mean, like, I'm just saying, at least somebody getting something.
Well, guess what, Slow-mo? Who gave that to you? Nintendo. Nintendo giving people that experience on a busted multiplayer service.
All the times they charge you for the same game over again, fuel the money for it. I guess
man.
Wow. We'll get to that in a sec here.
Shout out to that 3D world. I mean, that 3D All Stars is about to disappear from the vote. Go into the vote like Disney in the next 30 days.
I still got one of the things in the plastic.
I do too.
That's an investment right there.
It is. It's about to go away.
Yeah. So all right. So we got Splatoon 3
on eBay in 2 months, huh?
Yeah.
maybe closer to 4. Probably a holiday thing.
I want 300 for it. That's what's going to happen.
Let people miss it a little bit, then bring it back.
Bam,
bring it back. Yeah.
Let people trade it in and say, "Man, I shouldn't have got rid of that game."
Wow.
I gave that game to GameStop for 22 cents. What?
Yeah. Same thing happened with Gravity Rush Remastered.
By the way, Gravity Rush Remastered was really good.
Yeah, it was.
Love that game.
Gravity Rush 2 is good.
Oof. Yes, it was. I played that one too. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
And that game deserved more.
Yeah. But I could see I could see how that game's not for everyone.
Right.
But solid gameplay design, mechanics. Oof, solid. So, all right. So we got Splatoon. It's coming out next year, 2022. We talked about We'll get to Legend of Zelda here in a sec. We'll revisit this. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD comes to Switch July 16th of this year. Mario Golf Super Rush, which the golf is actually pretty
I love it.
Yeah, but it's actually pretty in depth. Like it gives you you gotta read the greens. It shows you it's
like the next best thing to Hot Shots golf. That's the one thing I love about PlayStation's golf is people look at it like, oh, this is kiddie golf. Have you played Hot Shots golf on PS4?
Yep. Yeah. And then we got which Slim I thought of you, not Slim, but Forte. I thought of you when they announced this Super Mario themed items coming to Animal Crossing.
Absolutely.
Yep. And
unlock all that stuff. I'll probably have my daughter do it for me because I kind of got off the Animal Crossing train. That was
a smart decision by them. To make. Yeah, you got a hit with Animal Crossing. You want to kind of keep that momentum going. Definitely take your IP. And leverage that in a property that's that big, even for the people who don't really care for Nintendo, like first party like that. They may get the inclination to start playing those games because you also put that into Animal Crossing. Though I was a little weirded out by how Mario looked. I'm like, it's a skinny Mario. He's tall.
Yeah, I noticed that he's like,
he's same height as Luigi. Like, what
the pandemic hit Mario hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Weight lost.
They gave him a little bit of a belly. He's got like a little bit of a beer gut thing going on. Like a little, yeah. Me, Mario.
Here we go.
And then Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout is getting ported to Nintendo Switch. So I don't think
they should have been bringing that to the Switch.
It's not even coming out now. We gotta wait all the way to the summer.
Summertime. Then that's a target. The game is targeting a summer launch window. Who knows what that is?
It might be smart for them though, because it's still not easy to find these systems, and by the time these games all start dropping, people are going to have even in slow mo.
They already got a ton of people that have them already.
That don't mean nothing.
Yeah, it does.
Once they get more, they gonna sell more.
Plus million people that could be playing Fallout right now.
Oh no, I'm not talking about that.
Guys.
I'm just talking in general with just like all these other games like Breath of the Wild and all these other games coming out. It's just games at the time that they have more systems in stock it's gonna make their attach rate go up, because most people buy either Animal Crossing or Mario Kart. I pretty much would think those are probably the two most sold games at the moment that you buy your Switch. And then there's just extra games. Like, you'd be surprised the games that sell. Like, you'll have games like SpongeBob, like the kart racer. Like, if you can find that game in stock, that game would probably sell with probably 4 out of 10 systems, because a lot of people look for that type of stuff, because they still, as much as we know that system's kind of for everybody, especially if you're a Nintendo fan, they still look at it as like, oh, I need something for my kid to play. And those are games that really, gear towards that.
Well, hopefully Among Us doesn't come in and ruin the fun again for them. That shows up. Guys? Yeah. So that shows up on the Switch, and it shows up like around the same time as Fall Guys. That's gonna suck for them.
I'm surprised it hasn't made it over there yet.
Me too.
Yeah, that game is like the size of a JPEG. It shouldn't be that difficult to get it on.
No, it's on phones already. Like it's gonna come. It's only a matter of time. It's gonna come to the Switch.
Is Fall Guys only on PlayStation and PC right now?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not coming to Xbox. Well, at least we don't know. Well, there was that whole thing. Don't you remember how Xbox always does this, where they'd be like, "Oh, we're getting this game," and the developer or publisher for that game's gotta go like,
Control.
We have no plan.
Oh, the whole Game Pass stuff, right?
Yeah. So like, I think
Game Pass.
Yeah, it's probably it's probably unofficially going to Game Pass, but they just screwed up by saying
it costs $5, man. Why can't they just have that thing and just say we want it in our service and just give them money?
Well, look, they probably already did. It's just probably there may be some kind of exclusive deal with PlayStation.
I was just about to say that it might be a console exclusive deal. With PlayStation, like, because it was on Plus too, so they maybe put it in Plus. We give you this much, leave it on our console for this amount of months, and go from there.
I mean, hey, like, that's the same thing that's kind of happening with Final Fantasy VII Remake. I guess we'll find out where that's going further in the next few weeks, because that exclusive deal for the PlayStation ends next month. So I mean, when usually the way Sony does it, when they get timed exclusive, they want you to believe it's just exclusive,
right?
Yeah. Like, there's no one can say anything about where it's going, which is why I think, like, secretly, like, the people at Xbox be just oopsie leaking things. Whoops. Did we show that? Oh man, look, my bad. That was a mistake.
That was a mistake.
With a quote unquote mistake, right? It's coming. We just can't say nothing officially, but yeah.
Sorry about that, everyone. Real quick, super chat. Dark say with the $5 super chat says hit the like button. Thank you, Dark, for that super chat. Appreciate it. Dark? So let's get back to Nintendo's hustle here, because we know what they're going to do with Legend of Zelda.
Good game that they showed?
Yes, the only good game they showed. We know what they're going to do with Legend of Zelda. Skyward Sword.
No, that's not. Whoa, no, I'm talking about Triangle Strategy. Project Triangle Strategy was
for the people that made Octopath. Yes.
Yeah.
It looks like a cross of Octopath Traveler and Final Fantasy Tactics to me.
Yes.
Final Fantasy Tactics side of things. And I thought that looked really good. If I still own the Switch,
is it gonna make you buy a Switch
all the way on that, huh?
Are you gonna buy a Switch for it?
No, I'm not. I don't think
you don't care enough.
Yeah, I don't care that much. Plus, it got Project in the name, so I'm like,
no, but it does look like what you said, like tactics. It's not
and coming out no time soon, man.
It's not like Project Spark or anything.
Nah, I think that's just how they do their games, though, because I think they did that for Octopath as well. It was called Project Octopath, and then
I love Octopath Traveler.
Yo, Jimmy, how long did it take for them to go from Project to Octopath Traveler as a name and then release the game from the first time they showed it?
I know when it was announced, I think it was like 2017. I think it was.
It was still Project Octopath when they put out the demo for the first time too.
Yeah, it was. I'm trying to see
like a year.
I think it was. I think it was close to a year.
Okay, because there was that whole. I don't know if you guys remember it at CES. Was it CES or GDC that was in January? I can't remember which one.
CES.
Yeah,
CES. When they did their CES and they had that graphic of like time release, like release dates or time release periods for some games, and then they had to cut that part out because it was kind of revealing too much. They had Project Athea, which is the other Square Enix game that was on there. It was showing for like Q1 of 2022, which so that's like a year, almost like a year a year and a half from when they first showed it. And pretty certain it's not going to be Project Athea when it comes out. So that would kind of make sense that if they show that game now and then it shows up next year under its actual name, then that's like a similar timetable.
Yeah. One title I want to talk about real quick too, which was like kind of the highlight of the show for me outside of the Zelda game, which we'll talk about here in a sec. Ninja Gaiden Master Collection.
That collection.
Yeah.
Yes. I was happy to know that it's coming out of the platforms. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I was happy to know that. Those are some classic games right there.
Yeah. Oh, Ninja Gaiden. Let me tell you, Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. Ninja Gaiden was, look, before there was like Demon Souls, there was Gaiden.
Yes, sir. I had Sigma on PS3 back in 2007. And I absolutely loved that game. That was back when PS3 ain't had much going on. So that right there, that was like, oh man, this is fantastic. So to get that collection, I'm copping that day one on PC.
So I have a question for you guys.
This daggone headset keeps selling out. So I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. That's okay. Just make sure you're just make sure the headset you have is good for tomorrow's show. That's all. And make sure you're on time too.
Wow. Okay. Last week.
Wow. Okay.
You weren't.
Okay.
Don't throw stones.
It's
don't throw stones at glass houses.
You ain't got any windows anymore because all your windows have been blown out. So shut up.
I did that with the snow blower.
Hey, Slomo, is Forte your supervisor? What's going on here, man?
I want to speak to your manager.
I'm not one of your employees. You can't boss me around. I'm still on lunch break. All right.
You see, Johnny.
So the question I have is, we came into this topic talking about how we fell asleep during this Nintendo Direct, but all I hear is you talking about games like, yo, I'm actually excited for this and I actually like this and this is cool. Splatoon is an underrated game, but in the same breath, everybody here is talking about games that they actually like, yo, this is actually a good thing. So I kind of understand
one game.
No, I'm just saying, but just the overall theme of this conversation, it just seems like it kind of doesn't measure up to what we were saying in the beginning. Now, I kind of understand where this is coming from because I think is it the fact that these are a bunch of older games and there's nothing really new on the horizon is why we're disappointed and why people kind of just fell asleep during this thing, or is it something else?
As I said, in 50 minutes, I saw one game I was interested in. I was bored. Yeah, so that's why I was going off and falling asleep.
Bored of everything.
There's no cap over here. I am straight up. That was a dog shit show.
It was boring. Like I agree with Slomo. There's like 2 games that I saw that I would actually buy.
Okay.
Yeah, because the host is doing a great job of highlighting the good stuff. That's all. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
There's a long list. There's probably like 30 some odd games on, maybe 20, 30 games on this list. We highlighted four of the good ones.
Okay, yeah, I get it. That's where I kind of thought it was coming from. It's like if somebody's going to come back into this podcast and hear at the beginning, it's like, yo, this was a trash show. We was falling asleep. Then they go here and say things like, wait a minute, they just named like 4 or 5 games in this whole direct that actually sound pretty good. But the thing is, unless you go and watch it and see the other 25 games that they show, you ain't no context to it. So yeah, so that's where I thought you were going. I just wanted to kind of put that out there so people that were listening kind of understood where we were going.
Yeah,
because if I was listening, I was like, "Yo, this sounds like good news for people."
Well, yeah, it's a good point, Forte. Like, yeah, but I mean, the show was, I mean, for the most part, just like a snooze. Like, this was probably the least least favorite of the Nintendo Directs. To be honest with you, like, it just wasn't like.
How much is that? How much is that due to the fact that this whole Switch Pro thing is kind of just looming over every Nintendo Direct they do, and people are like expecting something like on the level of that being announced? I mean, not saying we don't want to see new games too, but this is like the worst kept secret in the world, and everybody knows this thing is more than likely coming, and they just don't want to announce it yet.
Well, I mean, if it's not ready, it's not ready.
Well, I know that, but I also think in some people's eyes, it's like nothing is really going to, because I don't think we're going to get anything Breath of the Wild 2 until they announce that system. And it's not that game is going to be tied directly to that system, meaning you have to own that system to play it. But I do think when that game releases, it's going to release at the same time as that system releases.
That's a good point. That would be smart too if they do that.
Yep.
I mean, for me, that is definitely looming over me with the Nintendo. Like, I'm so ready for that Switch Pro. Like, if it's real, like, it needs to be real.
It needs to be real. I agree with that.
What if it isn't real though?
It's real. There's enough documentation out there that has been leaked that comes from actual Nintendo that shows that it is real. It's just there isn't any additional data on when it's coming and what the specs are and stuff like that. I've seen everything from people saying it's just like an overclocked CPU of the same Switch, which I'm like, well, geez, like, I mean, can you really overclock that as hot as that thing gets already?
The thing's gonna be hot. You got to believe though. And the other thing is, they're going to utilize DLSS 2.0. That's you know, and I've been holding off on buying like
they are,
huh?
The Switch Pro is.
No, I'm saying like I'm just saying I wonder if they will because because Nvidia chip, because they have the Nvidia chip.
Yeah, but I mean they would have to do like that's the Turing architecture at that point. That's, I mean, that's pretty current. Like Nintendo didn't want like what's the Nvidia architecture that's in the Switch right now wasn't even what Nvidia wanted to use. They wanted to use something even more current than that. Nintendo was like, "Oh nah, bro, we want to go even cheaper than that."
we charge people $400.
So they, if they want to do that with the Switch Pro, I mean, I don't see it. You know,
it was sale.
It was sale, and
at $400, it was sale.
We keep wanting Nintendo to finally like get caught up visually with the rest of the market is, the industry is right now, and that's just really never really in their plans.
Nope.
Like we'll be lucky this thing runs at the level of say like a PS4 Pro or something like that. I think.
Well, you know, I'll be happy with that. I'll be actually happy with that. I don't need it to be an the Series X or the PS5. I just want an experience where when I put a game into it, I am not having to go look at Digital Foundry or these different testing websites to see like, okay, how bad really is this game? How bad is it? Because that's the thing that we always come back to. If it's not a first party Nintendo game, it's pretty bad. But the thing is, the appeal of playing games like that on the go kind of make it so people just say, oh, you know what? I'm willing to sacrifice, you know, a little bit of performance because I can play this game anywhere I go. And I know that that's something that I'm going to be doing. And a lot of people that buy games like that buy them on multiple platforms. You know, Nintendo probably gets double dipping on the system. They get double dipping on the systems and they get double dipping on the games. Because, you know, that's just the best way for some people to expand their horizon with some of those games that they come out with.
Hey, did you get there we go. Calix Gamer, $5 super chat. If anyone has trouble sleeping, all they have to do is watch this direct. I agree 1,000%. I'm going to watch it again right before I go to bed. I don't think I'm going to last 5 minutes.
Slumber's going to be out sawing logs.
No NyQuil needed.
Nope. Exactly.
Not at all.
Yeah. All right. I want to go back up to the the other big announcement, which was the Zelda announcement. Unless there's any other games you guys want to talk about.
Oh, are we talking about the finesse now?
The finesse, yeah. You guys want to talk about the finesse?
Yeah. Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
All right. So we all know Nintendo's going to charge $60 for this game. They'll probably drop a special edition Skyward Sword Nintendo Switch for $300, right? And this thing is going to sell like hotcakes. People are going to buy this game for Nintendo could sell this for $70 and people would still buy it like hotcakes.
Yep.
This is what they do.
But you shouldn't say that because don't give them ideas, please.
They'll probably listen to be like, oh, we can make this happen.
We can do this.
Yeah. But look, $60. It's but in fairness, like this is a
in fairness
HD game, you know?
What fairness?
He said it's an HD game.
It's an HD. They charge $60.
Are you serious? In fairness, in fairness, you can say
it's got visual upgrades, Slow-mo.
Really?
Was it running at 1080p?
Yeah, it's 1080p Slow-mo.
10-year-old game.
10-year-old game. Wow. It's HD now.
But Slow-mo,
that's more full price.
You could dock it or you could play it on
for the exact same content. No upgrades, no changes, no modernizing the gameplay and kind of improving stuff. Nope. Just we gave you a slight bump in resolution. And where's your money at?
Oh, it's actually going to have Zelda themed Joy-Cons, by the way. They did announce that.
That you have to pay for as well.
Yes, which are going to be like $80.
And shout out to this dude, Melodic Punk. I was talking to him on Twitter about this because I was going in on Nintendo pretty much all day, and he was like, well, I'm getting it, and stuff, and I'm just like, all right, well, that's you and your money, you do what you want with it. I don't get it, but all right. And then he said, well, some people, are talking about the Mass Effect, and they're going to pay full price for that, and I'm like, all right, touche. But at the same time, that's 3 games for $60, and they made them look better. And the first game that needed a ton of quality and life improvements as far as controls and other mechanics with inventory and stuff like that, they're improving all those things. So they actually put work in.
You know what though, Slow-mo?
For that $60. Meanwhile, Nintendo was just like, hey, we here.
You know what though, Slow-mo? When you make a great game the first time, you just want to re-release it on another platform.
I don't want to hear that trash. That's trash, man.
You can kind of just get away with it. You can kind of get away with it.
You shouldn't just get away with it.
Listen, I'm not trying to say that they should be able to get away with it, but when you have look, how many times have people, they have basically came to the realization that why do we need to have an eShop where you could just buy these games at a cheaper price and we could just basically bring them out as full releases on cartridge and let you buy it for full price?
They came to the realization that
they came to that realization a long time ago because people was buying
and you take it.
Well, yeah, because people were buying 50,000 every time a new DS or 3DS would come out. They would have to rebuy their original Super Mario Brothers for $4, and they were doing it like 12 times inside of 4 or 5 generations and stuff. They would buy it on every platform that it was available on, even mobile phone. So they were like, so if we could, there's a reason they got rid of that part of their store. People were like, well, why can't we just, buy them inside of the eShop like that and stuff? Oh yeah, you can now. It's just not going to be for that $10 that it used to be. Is going to be a full-fledged game that you can give us either $60 for in the eShop, or you can buy a cartridge. And guess what? Their games will keep value because people hold on to their stuff, and Nintendo doesn't drop their prices. Like I was telling somebody not too long ago, Breath of the Wild saw its first, like literally, this game came out 4 years ago. It saw its first price drop on Black Friday of this year.
And it sold like hotcakes.
It was like $20 drop or something like that? 50. It was $50?
$50. It was a $50 game. It saw its first price drop in
$10 off.
Price drop.
Price drop, bro.
You telling me people freaked out over a $10 price drop
and we ran out of that mug too.
Nintendo can't keep getting away with that.
I can't do it.
Hey, real quick, man. Like they get away with it, Jay. You know that, Jay. You know they are gonna. This game's gonna like chart NPD. You already know this.
I know.
They have the kind of clout.
If Sony and Microsoft did even attempted this kind of stuff,
people will go crazy,
crucified them,
lose their minds.
Yes,
I remember when they tried to charge, I think it was $60 for that God of War 3 remaster, and they got destroyed. And they got destroyed to the point where they did even lower the price. I think like $10 or $15. Not Nintendo. I actually even hit my mans up because I got a couple friends that are really big Nintendo fans. And granted, they love this game, so they probably would pay any price for it. You know, any game you love, everybody has a price that they're gonna pay for.
Absolutely.
But I hit them up. First thing there's Zelda Skyward Sword coming out. I posted this meme in the chat. I'm like, you a victim. Because he's like, it's worth every penny. I'm like, you are a victim. I'm like, Nintendo got you under a spell for you to sit up here and tell me, and this dude has a PC. He done played this game already many times on the Wii. So even if he wanted to buy it and even emulate it, he could do it. You know what I mean? There's so many emulators now. You can play this game 4K textures and all that other fancy fly shit. And he's like, I know Nintendo cast spells, but did you see those Joy-Cons? I said, I'm done. This man talking about some damn Joy-Cons.
You can't save people. You can't save them. They're lost. And they can't be helped, unfortunately.
It's over.
They can't be reasoned with.
Nope. Not even a little bit.
Those Mario Odyssey, not Mario Odyssey, those Mario 3D bundles or 3D Land bundles that came out, what was it, last Friday? Gone. I started my vacation that day, but I had talked to my store and they said we had 26 of them and they were gone in the first 15 minutes. Jesus. They had a bunch of people just because we didn't do pre-orders on them. And they said as soon as he walked into the store he got there at about 11 o'clock because we opened at 12. My assistant called me, was like, yo, I'm about to send you a picture. I was like, oh, okay. And it's just a line going around the back of our building. It's like 90 people outside. I was like, yo, I said, do they realize we ain't got that many systems? They said, oh, we already went out there and said the first 26 lucky people step on up.
Disgusting.
It's different, man. It's different. I don't know, man.
And I guarantee you, most of those people have Switches already. They already got one, so they don't need this system. And I think that's kind of an allure to what they do too. It's not just the system itself; it's those Joy-Cons. They don't release them in this territory. Like they do a lot of those different colors over in Japan, but that stuff doesn't make it over here. Like those Mario, those new ones. They will never come over here. They'll never sell them over here, but they sell them right now in Japan, and you can buy them unless you want to import them.
You know, it's amazing. Nintendo just has this political capital that no one else has in the gaming industry. They can just do whatever they want. It seems like.
Yeah.
And I don't get, like, Jay, you said, like, you talking about Sony and the whole God of War thing.
Yep.
I mean, I'm telling you, Nintendo could put this game out for $70. No one would blink an eye.
Yeah, it's still top
the charts. And this game's going to top the charts. Like, you know, unfortunately, I'd be interested in a couple months to kind of, you know, for you to give us some insight, like pre-orders and stuff.
For this game. Oh yeah, I can't wait to see when they go live. They probably won't go live until probably Friday.
And the thing too about NPD is for Nintendo, they don't even track digital. So some of these games are like top 10 for the year, and they don't even include digital. So, and we all know digital makes up a big percentage of the market right now, especially with the pandemic and stuff like that. So it's insane. It's insane. Yeah. They really are a different species when it comes to these games.
Yeah, and you know it's funny, like you mentioned NPD, like that just shows you that makes what they do even more impressive in terms of how well their first party titles sell, because I think January's NPD, 5 games in the top 10 were first party. I think 3 of them were maybe Nintendo first party games, if I'm not mistaken.
Animal Crossing, Mario Kart 8, and actually Ring Fit Adventure was top 10.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
Smash.
Yeah, it's crazy. They I mean, Nintendo just beats you. Yeah. I don't. Any other community, you're right, JD. We'd be like with our pitchforks and yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
And we see Nintendo, and I'm like I'm probably going to buy this game.
You're gonna buy it. I buy every Zelda game. So
yeah. You know what? I never played this one, so
and yeah, it is. Wario64 has tweeted out that it is $59.99 for the Skyward Sword HD.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably buy it, but then I'll probably just play the emulated version because I'm not playing that shit at no damn 1080p now.
Oh, you're just gonna play it on PC?
Yeah. They got 4K texture packs and all that.
Breath of the Wild on PC is.
I heard it's
insane.
Legit.
Yo, Kofi posted a screenshot of it in ultra wide too. Oh my god.
Yep. What does it run for FPS? Like what is it like 120?
I think it's 60 on there. I don't think
60.
they got it up to 120 yet.
But yeah, even 60 though. Oof.
Yeah, with the 4K textures and all that. Oh my god.
Wow. I bet you that looks ridiculous. Yeah, it's definitely a whole new game. All right, I want to pivot from Nintendo here and talk about Mr. Phil Harrison. And we got some more Stadia news.
The Grim Reaper.
I guess they saw what Microsoft did with Bethesda and like, yeah, we're not doing that. But you know what's wild is like not even a jeez, not even a week later after they tell their studios, hey, you guys are doing a great job. They just cut them loose.
Like that's what they said. They told them they was doing great.
Yeah. On January 27th, he did a mass conference call with his developers, all 150 of them. Well, not all of them. There were some that weren't there.
Yeah,
but the ones that spoke anonymously to Kotaku said that Phil had talked up how great a job they were doing and how proud of the work they were, and and keep going, good job, yada yada yada, the whole hoorah kind of deal. And that then 4 days later, we got the announcement that he didn't even tell them. The internal email came out that they were basically shutting everything down around the same time as it came out in the press. So essentially, you could probably guess that they got word it was coming out in the press, and then they tried to send out the internal email to kind of, get it to people before they saw it, through Twitter, which is essentially what a lot of developers did. They got that news through Kotaku. They didn't get it through Google and Stadia.
Crazy.
And then he came out, Phil Harrison, good grief. This guy admitted, the fact that he admits this is crazy. He admitted that he knew already that they were shutting down the studios before, because there was a Q&A between that he did on March 4th with all the angry developers that he was just talking up a week earlier. And they asked him, did you know this was going to happen when you spoke to us last week? And he said, yeah.
Wow.
Dirty. Dude is real.
And you know what's even better is that Jade Redmond, she retweeted the Kotaku article. I was like, this is great. So she's like, what? She's hot. She's like hot, like what? Like, I can't believe that you guys did this, and just immediately retweeted that article by Kotaku. But I think, what you referenced earlier too, Slow-Mo, is that Phil Harrison pointed specifically to Microsoft's buying spree and planned acquisition of Bethesda software later this year as one of the factors that made Google decide to close the book on original game development. Like what?
Wait, so what
they about that like?
I was about to say, like, is it the fact that they feel like Microsoft is buying up everything and they just don't have a chance, or they just like
they're not going to spend that kind of money?
Yes, I don't think they realize the sizable investment in terms of making games and building studios. Like, I think, and the thing I've heard about Stadia is that actually the technology is not bad at all. It actually works pretty well. It's actually good technology. So again, I don't know the inner workings of Google, but to me, it sounds like and maybe you might have some more insight to this, Slow-Mo. But it seems like obviously the technology was there already in place. And I think they thought they were going to build this platform. It was going to be easy peasy because, hey, we got the infrastructure, we got cloud, we could do this. But I don't think that they what's really interesting is that big shout to Delirium Blades, who says Google's hoping for lightning in the bottle. I think that's part of it. But like Phil Harrison, this isn't his first pony show.
Right.
The guy was Slow-Mo calls him the Grim Reaper for I think a legitimate reason.
He's a retread executive in the video game industry. Like, why would you even put that guy in charge of your project? What success has he had recently? Think about where he's been and what happens to those platforms when he's in charge. Why would you want him in charge of this?
Yeah, like Slow-Mo, he was part of what? PlayStation 3, Xbox One.
Yep.
Yeah, everywhere he goes is death. Like it doesn't work. And look, I said it in the DM. I'm gonna say it out here on live on air. We need a Rooney Rule in the video game industry. I'm sick and tired of seeing these retread certain demographic kind of people, who just friends with someone else in the industry and keep getting jobs in these kind of positions without giving other people opportunities. And they don't have to be, say, a person of color. I know that's what the Rooney Rule is about, but give some of these other people opportunities to actually do the job that this guy, we know he can't do.
Yeah, the track record is right here on the Wikipedia page. It's insane.
He's like 0 for 5. Like, get him up out of here. Like,
but there's got to be. And again, I don't know all of his history. Is there anything that he may have done where he was successful? Like, it maybe not the product launch of a console per se, but maybe something else. Maybe building teams internally. Maybe because he had good relationships in the industry.
Yeah, he was. So I think it says here he joined Sony in '92, and he served the vice president of third-party relations and research and development from '96 to 2000.
So
that right there is probably where he built
off of that for 2 decades. He's been living off of that. Wow.
Yeah, he's been living off of that.
As
of the PS3 era, it was bad. PS3. He was part of Gaikai, which is the service that runs.
Oh, he's part of Gaikai too?
Yeah. He was part of, so that's a cloud service that failed out the gate. Yet Google thought it was a good idea.
No, he was part of the Gaikai acquisition for Sony.
Yep.
Sony spent $500 million on it, and Gaikai basically turned it to PS Now,
right?
More or less, but
which they're transitioning that to Azure.
Right?
Shows how well that went.
Yep.
And to your point, Enrique, if anything in cloud gaming works the best, it's probably Stadia. From what I hear, I tried it myself a few times. Experience wasn't bad. It was definitely better than xCloud, which isn't like I'm not dogging out xCloud. It's just it ran at a better resolution and it didn't have as much hiccups. But that said, the issue really isn't that the platform, because people will deal with certain platforms if the games are fire. Like people playing on them little Nintendo Switches. Primarily, they're people who are Switch primary gamers because the games really resonate with them. If they had content that people wanted to play, then it would be in a different place than it is right now. And that's typical Google, and something that Brian Baker said in the chat about Google, about how if it was a hit, then they'd invest. That's the wrong way of going about things, but that's how they do things. They want to jump into industries, into markets. They don't do enough research to understand that market ahead of time. They throw a little bit of money at it. They try to do it their way. They go in, they don't get immediate success, and they just get bored with it, and they don't continue to do. They don't learn from their mistakes. And then, as we see here, they realize how much it was going to cost them to really get a foothold in this industry. They was like, "Nah, fam, we ain't got time for all that. We're you shut all this down. You're fired. Get up, get out of here. Yeah, we're done. We're done with this. Yeah, just close this down. We're going to use this for additional search engine facilities for some of our engineers. Everyone else get up out of here. And it's just we saw this before it even got started because that's Google. That's what they've done so many.
I mean, you called this, I think, from the get-go, Slow-Mo. Like, hey,
I saw it for the look when they hired Jade Raymond, and I was just like, oh, okay, all right. Looks like they trying to get something going. She's going to help out their studios. Oh wait, she is the studio. What?
She is the studio.
You just hired her, and you coming out later this year? Oh nah, fam, it's a wrap for you. Like
they basically just paid her like Ninja got paid from Microsoft when they closed Mixer. They just like, hey, here's some. Here, we're just gonna give you some money to be a figurehead until we decide to close the studio.
Right. It's just like there's no shot for this. You have to have a game, a killer application, a banger to get people to try your platform. You're not coming from a base where you have fans, you have a community, you have a built-in install base that only likes your ecosystem. Sony has that, Nintendo has that, Xbox has that. You got nothing. So you need to come in with something that grabs people. I said this maybe last week, or a couple of weeks ago, whenever Mooch was here, but Nintendo wouldn't be where Nintendo was if it didn't have Super Mario Brothers.
Or Zelda
Xbox here. Well, Super Mario Brothers came with the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Right,
it wouldn't have been the smash hit and completely destroyed Atari the way it did if it wasn't for that game. That made it so. That game made it so everybody in the 80s, and I remember I was like 5 years old then. You gotta have a Nintendo because you gotta play Mario. That's that mindset. Xbox wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Halo Combat Evolved. That game made an Xbox a must-have to play this first-person shooter that you haven't seen done like this before. It became a must-have. What must-have do you have to have for Stadia? They get games late. When they do get games on time, it's like you don't care. It's full price for games that you really don't own, in a service that you have to subscribe to in order to even buy games. To even have the right to buy games, you got to subscribe to the service. Come on, the whole business format was stupid and didn't make sense. Showed that they didn't understand what gamers are looking for and what gamers want. You didn't have enough games. Xbox's xCloud had more games in its beta than they had, period, when they launched. Like, what are you doing? Like this, you don't have content and you don't have any exclusive content. And then when it came to actually acquiring exclusive content, you looked at the price tag and was like, not for me. They
got that Immortals Phoenix exclusive demo. Immortal Phoenix Rising, they had that demo.
Yeah, that demo,
yeah, a demo. But when the full game comes out, it's going to be on other people's platform where people already have that platform. And guess what they're just going to do? They're going to play it on their favorite platform. That's what they're going to do. They ain't going to play it on your Google Stadia. It's just, I mean, I know they got entered into a deal with super massive games to get an exclusive game done. I guarantee the after what they've done to their developers, if Supermassive could do a do-over, I don't think they would do this deal. Because you already know they'll lie to their developers right before they shut stuff down. You could be talking to Google and they'll be like, yeah, everything's great, man. Like we'll hit you with that next installment to keep you guys going on the project, and we'll talk to you next week. And then next week it's like, nah, it's over, fam. We're done.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, Slow-Mo. I'm not buying the whole. You guys, let me know what you think. I'm not buying the whole. I'll go to this. This question for you, J-Man. Like, I'm not buying the whole, we saw what Microsoft did, invest in billions, like, are you buying that? Or is that more like, it's kind of like, let's deflect what we did here, right? And kind of blame it on Microsoft and them spending a lot of money and stuff. I mean, I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I'm not buying it either. And like similar to slow mo. I remember we had this conversation in the press start where everybody was kind of figuring out and talking about what they think Stadia will be, and people had their thoughts about just the whole streaming stuff, period, and how the country might not be ready for it. And I always came back to the games, like Slow Mo was saying. It was always like, hold on, you didn't start investing into first party until after you announced this service. Like these two studios that you had that you eventually shut down, they don't have anything yet to come out. It's like that's like the ass backwards approach. It kind of reminded me of how Marvel does. They had all the 10 years of individual movies, right, and then they kind of brought everything together. Whereas on the DC side, they kind of did the Justice League stuff first and then started giving everybody like their own individual stuff. And even then it's kind of still all over the place. So it's kind of like, you're kind of doing it backwards to get people heavily invested into the universe. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I felt like Stadia did. And they finally realized that they messed up. maybe the purchase for Microsoft was the final nail in the coffin for them, but I think they came at it backwards from the beginning. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Phil saying that. Like, Phil, you've been in the business since 1992.
Right.
You know the monetary investment that takes place or that's needed. Yep. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. I just I don't get it. It's yeah.
I do need to say a correction.
Go ahead.
Shout out to Jay the Destroyer. He said you don't need to subscribe to anything to buy games on Stadia. You don't buy them. And that was something that they when it was in beta, you did have to subscribe to buy the games. But then once they became out of beta, then it was just you can sign up for the free version of Stadia, and then you could just buy games. But then that still goes to the other part of it that kind of should be always something that the gamers should be leery of is here is a service where it's just all cloud. It's all in the cloud. You don't have a download onto a hard drive or some kind of storage device. You don't have the physical disk or the physical hardware to actually represent what you own. What happens when, not if, but when Stadia is gone? What happens to the money that you spent on the games that you purchased?
Well, I think
hopefully they would roll that into something else, but you don't know that for certain. There's a lot of uncertainty with that.
Yeah, I think part of the problem, I don't think this whole Xbox spent so much money was really the cause of it. I do think there isn't a cause and an effect part of this thing. The difference is it always goes back to those games. Xbox, has always, as much as we get on them about their first party offerings, they do have a first party. So they already had something established that they could fall back on. And I truly do think that this whole pandemic thing probably hurt Amazon. I mean, not Amazon. They helped hurt Google more than anything when it came to Stadia, because their whole value proposition was based on you not having to be at your home. And if you look at Xbox's value proposition was the same thing, but look what they did halfway through the year. They literally moved their service and said, hey, this is a part of Game Pass, a service that you can download your games in. And if you want to play on the go and play somewhere else, if you have the device to do it, you can do that. So it became, as much as it's still a service that they promote, they really don't promote it. It's like, because it's not a value proposition due to the age of what we're in right now. Most people are at home playing their games. They're not out and about doing it. So the cloud really doesn't benefit people like it normally would, where Stadia, it was all cloud. It was no direct download. There was no other way of doing it. Plus, it's in a service where you got to pay a full $60 for your games. We went through the list of Slow-Mo a couple of DPSs ago, and we were talking about why is a game like NBA 2K20 still $60 on that service? Mm-hmm. And you can go on Xbox or PSN and get it for
any
15 to 20, any platform, and get it for $15. So I think that was a really big problem for them. I think it really hit them really, really hard. But I do think Microsoft being as aggressive as they did when it came to like purchasing Bethesda. I don't think it really impacted their decision a lot. I just think it showed them like, yo, Xbox already has studios, PlayStation has studios. We don't even know how far we're willing to go with this service. And we already see where the line in the sand stands for us if we want to be 100% committed into this. And nobody truly believed that Google wanted to be committed to this 100%. That's why we all said, yo, how long is it going to be till this basically flops? And we pretty much saw that. So they basically just said, hey, we're just going to take our time and we're going to build these studios. And like, if they were real serious about this, they would have went out and bought a studio, not make their own studio from scratch. They would have found a studio that had some type of game already in development that they could slap the Stadia name on and say, this is exclusive to Stadia. Now, I think they thought games like Destiny was going to really help them, which I do think it got people in the door, but that's a game that people literally can play on any other platform, and it being in Game Pass literally for the price of the admission of the service with all the DLC kind of hurt them too. And then more people play that game on consoles as it is anyways. And like I said, the whole pandemic thing really, really hurt them. But to each his own. Phil, he got a bag. And
he got a bag.
They got bags. They got paid. And guess what? The $1 trillion company called Google is not gonna hurt them one bit.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say, what one point you made, that I do. It's not Slow-Mo. I'm sorry, Forte. That I do disagree with.
That's all right. We're one and the same.
Is the value proposition? I think the value proposition wasn't necessarily you can play the games as you go. I think that was part of it, but I think the biggest thing, their biggest selling point was, hey, you could play games on any device you have in your house. Whether it's an old laptop, whatever the case is. You got internet. You're good. You sign up for, a Google account, sign up for Stadia. We'll send you a remote. We'll send you a dongle device.
I agree with that, but I never thought that was a good value point because people that wanted to play the games they were talking about, they're already in the market.
Exactly.
They're in the market for a system that they already know with a name that they already trust.
Exactly. So you're trying to sell something to people that already have consoles. And what they try to do, I think they were trying to bridge the gap of trying to connect to that consumer who didn't buy a Nintendo Switch or an Xbox or a PlayStation yet. But at that point, it's like, if you're not interested in gaming and you haven't invested in those consoles just yet,
right?
Why would you? I mean, what made Google think that they're going to get somebody who, like you said, go to them and not maybe an established player in the industry, like a Nintendo, like a Microsoft, like a Sony? That's a very hard sell to someone, to target somebody, a group of consumers who that pretty much don't have any interest in gaming, period. And so I think that's kind of like the uphill battle for them. And the other thing too, cloud gaming is going to have an uphill battle. Like it's, there's issues with data caps. We're seeing it in this pandemic. One thing the pandemic I think is exposed is the digital divide, especially here in the US, which is shocking to me. We're like, I love that slow-mo. The digital divide that we see here in the U.S. We're like supposed to be the wealthiest country in the world, and we have this massive digital divide in terms of broadband. And I know everybody talks about 5G, but 5G isn't.
You used 5G to talk 5G.
I never did.
5G BRAP.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let me remind you of what we're talking about. You were going around calling yourself BRAP 5G, BRAP 5G, broadband, BRAP, whatever. And you were talking about how it's the future, man. You can't stop the future, baby. And all that stuff. and you were like, hey, look, Stadia could work out because 5G is going to be over the air. You can't even see it. It's there though.
Let's be for real, bro.
It's magical.
Let's be for real, man. You were capping just as hard for Stadia and 5G as Mooch was when they first started talking about the Stadia.
Mooch was definitely capping.
Yeah, Mooch was capping. I'll come clean. I was Lord 5G.
Lord 5G.
And look, I did.
You've seen the errors of your way. It's okay.
I see the errors in my way. And look,
you were a Fugle. You were a Fugle.
I was a Fugle.
Remember our podcast got named Fugles. I was like, what?
Fugles, yeah. We talked about making t-shirts. Oh wow! I'm telling you, I still give Google to the end of the year. I think they're not Google, but I give Stadia to the end of 2021. They're done.
Yeah. They're just they're trying to find the most orderly way to just get out of the whole video game thing, and then find a way to kind of have a very minimalistic way of still being in the industry. So, like, how can we still be in this, but then not actually have to do any work in this? Like, we don't have to actually put any work in to make this work. Maybe some of the features of Stadia they'll keep, and then just kind of have that be something that they roll out individually to developers. For example, you know how they marketed that whole idea where you could be watching someone play a game of streaming through YouTube, and then there'll be the option to click a button and just play the game right then and there. Well, maybe they will keep some kind of infrastructure like that, even though I think they never actually rolled that out. So maybe that was a way too difficult for them to be able to figure out, and that even that probably would be too much for them. But maybe they'll keep something, or find some other way to make some money in the gaming industry that doesn't involve them actually having to build the platform.
Maybe they do that, and make a couple bucks off of it. We'll see. Time will certainly tell for sure. I do want to talk about Marvel's Avengers, the game. That laugh says it all. Look, I gotta say that the campaign portion of that game was actually pretty good.
It was.
I liked it.
It was.
Yeah. And then after that, it's like boo-boo butter. And so the game's coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and I'm just gonna throw this out to the panel, and I'll go to you with this first, J-Man. Do you think that this game releasing on the new consoles will breathe new life back into this game?
Maybe for like a day or two, and then
he said 24 hours, give or take.
Yeah, people gonna benchmark it and like that. Oh, it looks nice, 4K, 60 frames, stuff like that. I mean, even myself, I actually didn't even finish the campaign on this game because, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it at the time. But this next gen update, I'm gonna go back and try and finish up the campaign at least and see where it brings me. But I don't expect myself to like continue on with the daily and weekly content and stuff like that. I don't know. It just wasn't something that I was like interested in.
Oh, you were just like me. The game's gonna have a good single player, but that end game is gonna be something to desire, and everybody's gonna fall off the wagon as soon as they're done with it.
Yep, exactly. So I'm gonna get back to the single player stuff though, and I'll see it with all the bells and whistles, and then I'll probably drop it off after that. I'll be shocked though if I do end up sticking with it. I will be shocked. I'm gonna give it a fair shake.
I don't. I don't know what to say, man. I'm just
I know they said they had pushed back like the content release stuff to like make sure they fixed things that were wrong with the game itself. So they got a few characters and stuff coming. Hey, shit, we still got Spider-Man that's supposed to be coming exclusively to the PlayStation side. So.
Yeah, yeah.
You got nothing?
I got no. Look, this game should have been a single player campaign game. That campaign was actually good. Had a good story. Gameplay mechanics are good. It wasn't a bad game. It was good. But
how long was the single player portion?
Oh, I don't remember.
Like 10, 12 hours. I finished it. I mean, it wasn't extremely long, but again, It was a good campaign.
What is that? What is that face?
That is a bug that's in the game. That's Kamala Khan, where her face doesn't load all the way in. Wow. Yeah, if that's scaring you guys, good.
That reminds me of that Assassin's Creed Unity shit.
Unity, yeah, right?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
shit make my skin crawl.
Yeah, that shit looks kind of spooky, but
and I brought that up because I saw a clip. Someone went and installed Avengers again, based off of the news, and they were playing the game, and they fell through the map. They got stuck in a wall, and then they fell through the map.
I think J-Man got dropped.
Yeah, maybe he can get back in as soon as he
he got dropped.
Gets it figured out. Yeah, but like that, it's just stuff like that that's just like, yo, how is it all this time later and you still haven't fixed the game? Like, it's been so long and you still haven't taken care of these issues with bugs and stuff like that. Like, that's just, that's a really unfortunate. I did reinstall it just to kind of see, because I didn't do the Kate Bishop content, because all the additional content they do, the new characters and stuff, all that stuff's free. So there's actually a little bit of like story content involved with getting Kate Bishop. I tried to do it. I did like 2 missions, and I couldn't, because I just couldn't. It's the gameplay loop just doesn't keep me interested, and what they showed story wise wasn't all that more compelling. I also think kind of like, I don't know what they were thinking in deciding to have 2 archers as the first 2 DLC back-to-back DLC characters.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too. That's a weird choice right there.
Yeah, like why? I mean, Kate Bishop is basically like little Hawkeye. So I mean, even in the comics at one point, she was Hawkeye when he was quote unquote dead. So it's like, why would you have 1 archer for DLC, then have another archer back? Why I throw like Black Panther in the middle of that, or Doctor Strange, and then go to Hawkeye? Why have them back to back like that? It just kind of shows they either were just trying to, hey, like, what's ready to go? What can we put out now? Oh, the Archer stuff is ready. Like, we got that kind of done in the programming and the code and in the animations. Let's just get that out now while we work on the rest of the stuff. I mean, but if I bought it on PlayStation, which I almost did, because I wanted to do the Spider-Man stuff, but then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, am I really going to be playing this game in 2021 when Spider-Man comes out? No. No. So we got it on PC.
Damn.
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say, Forte, any thoughts of this, man?
Not really.
Yeah, I don't think I Jay, I think you're right. This thing might have 24 hours of life. Because people are going to be like, oh, let's see if it's 60 FPS on consoles, and Digital Foundry would do their impressions videos, and you probably get some people that will try it, but I don't see this thing having legs. That's just,
I think definitely ain't gonna have no legs.
Yeah. So I don't know what they're gonna do, man. I think they just gonna have to. They might have to take the L on it, man. They might just have to take the L.
I think they already took it.
They already took it, man. Yeah, I mean, I just missed opportunity. It's just, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a shame because the Avengers franchise is licensed. It's a big deal, right? And like they just poo-pooed it. And I think what adds, for me at least, what adds more insult to injury is that the single player campaign, like when you first start playing, is actually good. Everything else after that is just poo-poo. So.
Yeah, there's this really long grind to getting to max level, and I think the max power level is like 150. And it's if you to get people who haven't played the game or didn't finish it to understand how long, and this, it's not just 150 period, it's 150 per character per Avenger. So to get someone to understand, like, you may finish a mission and you may get like 1 or 2 pieces of gear that is at a higher level than what your gear is currently at. And that may bring you up from, say, like a 35 to a 38. That's in one mission. So think about that. That max level is 150. Think about how many missions you really have to do to reach max level to completely unlock the skill trees for your characters. And then once you get up there, because I know some people who've done that, and they like the way they got their Iron Man spec'd out seems pretty cool. It's just that it's that grind to getting there that isn't quite, doesn't work, and Forte will agree with me about this because we play looter shooters pretty frequently. The part of looter shooters that really works is that the gameplay has to be fun, because you're doing a lot of grinding. And if the gameplay while doing the grind isn't fun, the carrot at the end of the stick of the loot that's supposed to be pretty awesome, it just isn't a good enough draw. If the gameplay sucks, people will attempt it, but then the boring aspect of trying to get through this journey to getting their build just right so that now it's fun, it's just not. Most people don't make it there, and so they quit, and that's what happens. And another thing is that when you don't have content, like they didn't have real good content, people quit. So you have to have those things as looter shooters go in order to make them work. And honestly, I don't think any developer has ever really made that work.
Yeah,
no one has. So it's like the fact that people keep attempting it, when you're really kind of like, you're really going into the, the great beyond here, where, boldly going where no one has gone before, because you're trying to accomplish something that really hasn't been successfully done yet. And just throwing money at the problem, or having a developer that isn't even familiar with this kind of stuff, like Crystal Dynamics, great developer, not familiar with this kind of stuff at all.
Not easy to do, yeah.
So to have them throw them into this, and them not even being all that comfortable and having the experience that developers like Massive Entertainment and Bungie have, it turns out the way we saw it.
Real quick, gentlemen, I for the sake of time here, I want to pivot to the last topic, because I know this is something we talked about. What was it last week? As a matter of fact, E3 2021. I think it's gonna get canceled, in my opinion. Well, they just haven't told. Like we asked Forte the DM when he thought it would be canceled. He said tomorrow. So So I can never pronounce that. Reggie, whatever his last name is, because I never pronounce it.
Fils-Aimé.
Rezi Fils-Aimé. There you go. Rezi Fils-Aimé. Rezi Fils-Aimé just came out and commented on E3's plan for a digital E3 2021. He said that that E3 wouldn't offer hands-on with games being showcased, adding that plans for 2021 edition don't sound all that compelling. He said Fils-Aimé acknowledged that the ESA is on the right track and absolutely right in doing a digital E3 can attract a much wider audience. He says, I think that the platform holders need to find a way digitally to enable their fans, their players to experience the content, because that's key for E3, right? The ability to play, the ability to be playing The Last of Us Part 3 for the first time, or play the next Breath of the Wild game for the first time, or to play the next great game coming from the new Xbox Studios. To play for the first time, it's what's magical, and platform holders need to figure out how to deliver the experience to their fans in an E3-like digital experience. I think that would be huge. He added that if ESA doesn't solve the equation, another company will. He also mentioned the work Jeff Keighley did last year to replace E3 2020. So, I agree with him 110%. Like, it isn't E3 if you can't have people play games.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how do you do that? Look, they could do it. Sony could offer, like, we get like when we get the shit. I'm not drawing a blank now because, when we get like demos, in-game demos and things, we download through our stores or digital stores. There's ways for them to do that, and I hope that E3 is figuring that out, or the ESA is figuring that out, because he's right. Like, I think Jeff Keighley, didn't they do that with Summer of Games where you could play? They had some like demos of games you could play.
Yeah, it was like for a limited time. You could download a bunch of games and try them out and stuff like that during that period.
Yeah. So Jay, what say you, man? What do you think? Like, do you think it's gonna be like? I think me, Forte, someone we all I think agree that it's gonna get canceled. Do you think E3 is gonna get canceled this year? Do you think? And if it doesn't get canceled, do you think they have to do this? They have to get games in the hands of either gamers or journalists or both.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been to like an E3 show before in person. So for me personally, I always like only cared about seeing the what you call like the big conferences that came about from like Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, and stuff like that. It was cool also to hear like impressions and stuff like after the fact, like hear impressions, hear developer deep dives and stuff like that about these games. So I do think they need to figure out some type of way to do that, whether it be sending early builds or early demos to journalists maybe like a week before, that way they can have everything up and running when they do run the E3 digital show or something like that. But I know, of course, in terms of COVID and stuff like that, they don't want to do a in-person show right now just because of all the risk. But it seems like with the digital stuff, like last year, Jeff Keighley did the Summer of Games. I thought that was like a cool thing. I just felt like it was kind of too spread out. Yeah, like you got something one week, and then it might be a few weeks later you get something else. Like they got to figure out a way to make that a little bit more compact and like over maybe like a couple weeks span, not that whole big stretched out, drawn out thing that Jeff Keighley had going on. So if they could do that, like I said with the demos, I think the games have to get into people's hands so that people can talk about it and get excited. And you know, I know Sony, they wasn't a part of, like, they're not doing E3 anymore, so I don't know if they're going to be a part of this, but they got to get the conferences a part of it as well, because what else are you really going to have to show if not that? So, yeah.
Yeah, I have an idea of what they could do to kind of bring that ability for gamers to get those games in their hands. Mm-hmm. It's something that I thought that was spoken about last year, but I didn't think really got implemented, or maybe it was in a little bit of way. But let's say you have a game from a developer / publisher that they were going to show at E3, but of course E3 is now digital. Whenever they do their thing where they at whatever show they're part of, they show their game, they also tell you this game is now playable in demo form. Whatever demo they were going to have available at the actual show, the game is now digitally available on X platforms to freely download and try out. And so that way gamers, even more gamers than just the people who would have showed up to the show, would actually get a chance to try your game. And then now you could actually have a bigger influence than you thought you would have just being at the show. That's a possibility.
That'd be cool, yeah.
E3 is just not going to happen, though. Maybe that's something that Jeff Keighley can implement, because his thing is definitely going to happen, but E3 ain't. Especially because they're still trying to charge people to be a part of it, to be a part of a digital show. Like, what?
Yeah, well, what are we doing here?
What am I paying for? It's one thing when you had an event at an actual facility.
To have people gawk over your games in a digital format.
Yeah, but I could do that on my own. You could do that
on your own.
No,
last year proved that.
The ESA still are just like stupid. Like they still don't get it. They don't understand what these publishers want. It's the reason why even before this pandemic happened, where publishers were pulling out. Even if the pandemic didn't happen last year, less publishers would have been there than the year before. And I heard from people who went to the E3 2 years ago, that was like the spots where publishers used to be, they didn't fill those areas. So it's still cramped in E3 as if those areas are filled with other booths, other locations for platforms, but there's nothing there. Like they literally didn't change anything from the year before. Like what are you doing at the ESA where you don't look at your floor plan and say, hey, now that we don't have this massive area over here filled, maybe we can give more space to other people, or kind of fill this out a little bit, make it a little bit more accessible with now that we open the show up to other people, which I think also turned out to really be a mistake on their part. Yes, a lot of us gamers that aren't press, and none of us here are press, and we could go, get a ticket, fly to Cali, go see E3. But then it's not that was a mistake that allowed us in. It's the effect it had on them, because as we saw with a lot of the reports that came out, they started really going Hollywood with things. They started catering to let's get more celebrities in here, and it just became less about what the games were about and more about being a big spectacle. And that's not what people care about. People care about having some fire games. Make it easy for Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo to get their show off. You handle that aspect of things so that the lights turn on when they need to, and the confetti falls, and whatever little unicorns and mermaids that Sony brings out whenever they do their crap or whatever. Make sure that stuff goes off without a hitch, and just be in the background. Like, stop trying to find ways to make the most money out of this. This is not what it's supposed to be about. And so I think other shows will just take over for its place. I think E3 is just done. Man.
Yeah, that's a real thing. I mean, like, certainly other shows have stole that momentum from E3, like with PAX. PAX is big, and then Sony was going to do a lot of like PAX type events to show off the PlayStation 5, but the 19 hit, unfortunately, and that didn't happen. But E3's
Gamescom,
Gamescom. Yeah, ESA's got to get this right. They got to get it right. If they don't, it could be bye-bye for them, because Nintendo, if anyone's proved that you don't need the ESA or E3 to get your brand across, especially in this digital age. You just don't.
There was what, like 500,000 people waiting for that direct today, just sitting in the waiting area.
Just sitting there, yeah. I mean, what a way to maximize your investment in time. It's just, we could throw this on YouTube, or we could do a live show. We can, if I'm Sony, I could say, hey, we're gonna do a digital event, and we're gonna show. I'm just throwing this out there. We're gonna show Horizon Forbidden West, and if you sign up, or if you watch the show, you got a PlayStation account, whatever the case is, we're gonna give you like a 10-minute demo of it to download. I mean, you could hit so many people.
Absolutely,
it generates so much hype, like free hype, free publicity.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me, at least. So
and originally, I don't know if anyone knows this, but originally the ESA was established to be like a lobbyist organization, a nonprofit lobbyist organization for the video game industry. It's the reason why so many of the publishers that we know of that are typically really kind of going at one another back and forth, they all come together, sit at the table, and plan out things for the video game industry as a whole. If you guys remember back in like the 90s, when politicians were using video games as a scapegoat for not being able to handle violence in their communities and stuff like that. So the ESA was established to kind of counter that, to educate these stupid senators and public political officials on what video games really provide, and giving them accurate statistics instead of them trying to snipe video games to help basically sell lies to people who are ignorant about what video games are about, period. And it kind of grew from that as video games have become more popular now, to the point where it's not really as necessary as it once was. If you don't need a nonprofit organization to lobby for you when politicians don't find it popular to use you as a scapegoat anymore. You don't need to be on Capitol Hill, because the ESA is here where I'm at. They're in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, they're in D.C. I think off K Street, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they don't even they're not even doing as much as they used to do on that aspect. They spend all year planning E3. And then they don't even do much different from the year before, and they leak everyone's personal information. So it's just like,
you always take them task for that, man. It's hilarious.
Because it's the dumbest thing about. Like, I work in IT.
It's pretty bad.
To see what was like the fact that you would have that kind of information available on a public server was just ridiculous. Like, why is this here? This should never have been put there in the first place. Like, it's just terrible management, from whoever is doing their IT, whoever they outsourced it to, whatever, they should be fired. They should be ashamed of themselves. It's just ridiculous. And then the fact that like some of their plans already have been leaked for this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
it's terrible, man.
It's pretty bad. Forte, do you have any closing thoughts on this before we wrap up?
E3, man, that thing. How can you? I just don't understand how you can expect. You done gave these developers a taste of not having to, be stuck to a timetable. As much as I think the best thing that E3 brings to the table is they bring a little bit of more structure to the event. We know when stuff is coming. We pretty much know exactly when games are going to get announced, and we have a good idea because it's like a week-long event where everything pretty much comes out. Some stuff gets held on to, but for the most part, we know what the end of the year looks like. We know what the beginning of the next year looks like. Compared to last year, we were getting stuff pretty much throughout the year. And I think that was one thing that somebody asked Jeff Keighley on Twitter. He said, is Summer Games Fest going to be a 4-month event or is it going to be less? And he said it's only going to be a 1-month event, which I think if that is the case, I think a lot of people are going to like that format a lot better because they'll just get more of that information that they truly want to hear. So E3 is on borrowed time. It's no telling when that's going to manufacture itself to actually being something that people truly care about. I think the ship has sailed pretty much on that. Microsoft pulled out a long time ago, even though Microsoft did have a presence at E3. They did it in the Microsoft studio across the street. They weren't even at the E3 showcase on the floor. They just did their announcements and stuff at an event that was just during the week of E3. Sony hasn't been there. Nintendo pulled out eons ago, just did a direct there. They did have a booth there. So I think you're going to get more of a direct to consumer thing. I think that idea that Jeff Keighley had last year where they had a bunch of games that they released over that, I think it was on Xbox. They had a bunch of games that they released over the course of the beginning of Summer Games Fest that people could try out. I think that would be another really good idea to do this year, but instead of it being a bunch of indie games, let it be games that people actually are looking forward to and care about the most that are going to get announced throughout the year. Give some demos and stuff like that just to like kind of have that E3 feeling where people that don't get a chance to go can kind of see what, they've been missing out on by trying some of those games out. Even if it's only for that week, I think that would be a good idea. But E3, as we always knew it, I think we'll never have that. I don't think E3 will ever be a thing that you ever go to again. I think, COVID pretty much took care of that. And it kind of just opened these developers up to the fact that we release information on our own timetable and they still get the same message out there. PlayStation can have a $5 million person stream on the week, on just a random stream versus having to do it all at one time. And they get more capital out of that.
Yeah, no, that's great points. Excellent points, Forte. I agree with you 110%, man. Look, on that note, I do want to wrap up the show because I got to get to bed.
You always say you got to get to bed. What do you do when you wake up? Do you actually go somewhere? Do you have a job that actually
works from home?
Like you work from home. You make it
Forte. I got like okay. Wait. Forte. I got like 10 kids, sir. I got two. I got the
only time you're gonna hear BRAP actually just be capping that he got 10 kids. Because any other time you're gonna be like, I ain't got no kids, man.
I got two. We got 2 dogs.
We count those.
3 rabbits that are outside, so I got to feed them in the morning. 5 chickens.
There you go.
So. Yeah,
a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, exactly.
I just sound like the story of Mother Goose.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm like Forte Slobo. You do, I think you probably have an idea where I live. I'm in the country, man. I got like an acre of land. You got
farmland out there.
Yeah,
got milk cows,
bobcats, and shit.
Chickens.
Yeah.
You can at least say that you got up and lift some weights. Just like Topsy was like, he wakes up in the morning and does his exercises.
Yeah, with a wife, you know what I'm saying. But anyhow,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Hello, love.
Hey, man, I tell my wife all the time, I say, you want to surprise me, you wake me up.
Go right ahead.
Wake me up. She was like, because I think we was having this conversation. She was like, you always in them. I was like, that will never, because we always talk about how tired we are, especially during this moving over the last weekend. I was like, just looking at her, I was like, she's like, what? I was like, new house, let's go. She was like, oh, yo, aren't you tired? I was like, I am never tired for that.
We got a Kristen in a new place.
Yeah, you gotta
each room.
Each room, gotta bless it.
You gotta bless it. Exactly. But no, gentlemen, great show, by the way. We'll give a shout out to everyone in the live chat. Appreciate you all coming through. Smash that like button if you haven't done so already. And J-Man, man, always a pleasure having you on. Hey, by the way, let everyone know where they can find you. I know you guys are going to be live again this Thursday night, Press Start Podcast, but let everyone know where they can find you, sir.
Yes. You can find me on Twitter at JMain518 or anywhere across the board on social media if you so wish. And then, like my man said, Press Start Podcast every Thursday night, 8:30 p.m. Check us out over there.
It's a good show.
Thank you,
great show.
I appreciate it. So, we'll be live tomorrow. And I appreciate being on the show. Always a good time talking with you guys. And until next time, man, we out.
Hey, Jay, let's not wait 2 years to get you back on again.
You got it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the corporate side of Press Start didn't last that long.
Oh no, that was just I got hot in that dress shirt and tie. I had to take that thing off.
Oh man, the memes with Jack move
they got me on a meme too. Actually, just the other day because I was supposed to be streaming Bloodborne, and because me and Kofi had we got into a little a debate about Bloodborne or whatever. And I had told everybody, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to stream it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to stream it on February 29th. I got y'all. Don't even worry about it. And then they memed me and put me in the when I had the corporate outfit on. And they was like, ask my girlfriend out on February 29th. That way I only got to celebrate our anniversary every 4 years. Like big brain activity.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Definitely. I check you guys out on replay because I know we got DPS. Pretty much the same time now. So I always make sure my Friday morning that's part of my routine while I'm working. Catching up on the shenanigans.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, everyone, please check out the Press Our Podcast. Seriously, great show. Give J-Man a follow on Twitter as well. And also want to give plug these two gentlemen here, Sleepy Slubbo and Gaming Forte. You all do have a show, as Slubbo mentioned, tomorrow at was it 8 or 9? I forgot. I'm tired. I'm tired.
9 p.m.
9 p.m. Yes, thank you.
And this week is going to be on Forte's channel. And a quick update on my channel. I tonight actually just hit 900 subs. So
congrats!
Yes,
get to 1,000.
Yeah, I hit 1,000. I gotta play Bugsnax. I got a live stream Bugsnax. So wow, not looking forward to that. But I am so very happy about the growth, and I appreciate everybody that subbed and checked out the content. I got another video coming out in the morning, so just check that out when it pops up in your feed, and check out Forte's channel tomorrow for the show. So we'll be live with Eric Jackson. He's going to join us tomorrow. We're going to be talking, video games and stuff. And I guess Eric will be trying to be the voice of reason with me as Forte says some foolishness once again. So come check us out.
There's definitely gonna be foolishness. I already know that. I don't know in what form, but there will be some.
There'll definitely be some foolishness for sure. But please check him out. Let's get Slubbo to 1,000 so he can play Bugsnax. He's dying to play that game.
Look, give me to 1,000 just so I'm at 1,000. I don't want to play Bugsnax. So maybe if I got to 1,000, I just completely forgot about that whole bet. That'd be great too.
1,000 hey, 1,000 for Bugsnax, 2,000 to platinum it.
Wow.
Whoa! I never agreed to that.
He never agreed to that. Though.
I never agreed. Like, he keeps trying to weasel that part in every time.
Hey, if you put it out there in the world, it might come true.
Well, it won't. Wow. So, like,
if somebody was to say Slow-Mo, you gonna get you the 2K, but you got to platinum that game, and they gonna be Slow-Mo gonna be like, "What? Really?" And he gonna do it.
I'm good. I'm good. I think
Slow-Mo's probably
my
good.
way. I'm not platinum in that game.
Like, where my Scooby snack at?
Look, I'm gonna give y'all a good hour or two of that live stream. That's the most you getting out of me and Bug Snacks.
If it's anything like your Grounded live stream was, where the ladybugs was coming.
Yo, man, you know what?
All right, let's move on to Forte.
Grounded.
Forte. Let everyone they can find you, sir.
Yo, Forte, give me Forte everywhere: YouTube, Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation. Like you said, DPS podcast tomorrow at 9 p.m. on my channel. Let's get Slow-Mo to 1,000. Hit up J-Man. J-Man, when you gonna start making videos on that channel again, or did you completely?
Oh man, no, I didn't give up. I just I don't know. I've been focusing on a lot of playing games and shit. So soon I'll be back. But right now I'm just focusing on games and shit. Doing what makes me happy in the moment.
I feel you on that, man. But like I said, keep doing what you're doing, man. You guys do a great job over there on Press Start, and make sure you check those guys out, and make sure you get ready for some type of BRAP rant that will inevitably show up this weekend that we just don't know about.
Yeah, I might be ranting about snow.
Oh my god!
Well, that's the snow that I got yesterday.
We supposed to get something tomorrow.
I'm sick of it.
We got a foot and a half yesterday.
Slow-Mo, what are they calling? Damn.
Yeah.
Slow-Mo, what are they calling in your neck of the woods, man?
Freezing rain, sleet, and
better go put
that's
some
about
ice.
it. No snow.
No snow.
But I'll take snow over freezing rain and sleet.
Me too.
For real.
Yeah.
Slow-Mo, they're okay. So Slow-Mo, they're calling here where I'm at, because I'm further northwest of you, I think. If I'm thinking right, if I got my geography correct. They're calling for 5 to I think it's like 5 to 8 inches. 5 to 7 inches.
Hey, hold on. I'm about to check the forecast. If you're getting 5 to 8 inches, I'm getting some snow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you might want to check, because so heavy mixed precipitation, snow, sleet accumulation of 5 to 7 inches, and ice accumulations of 1/10 of an inch where I'm at.
Man, that's for Thursday?
They're Thursday leading into Friday. Ooh. So 3 a.m. it's supposed to start. Well, the winter storm watch is from 3 a.m. Thursday to 6 a.m. Friday. And I still have snow in my yard from the last couple times we had snow.
Man.
Yeah.
Houston got hit, or Texas
got hit. They changed the forecast. 80% chance of snow now. Oh man.
What are you getting, Slow-Mo?
I'm trying to look now. I don't know where.
For those who don't know, Slow-Mo and I live like probably about an hour apart from each other, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
About an hour, give or take.
Oh wait, no. Okay, it's still freezing rain and sleet, but they said the chance of snow is gradually going up. It's
so you guys are going to at least get like 2-3 inches, man.
Yeah, see, that's what sucks, because it's like when you get that snow and then you get like rain and freezing rain on top of it, it makes the snow super heavy to shovel.
Oh yeah, it should suck.
I hate that. Like when we had the snow last week, that was easy. Like me and my son went out, we shoveled the driveway. I helped my neighbor out. I went to my mom's house, helped her out. It was easy. I helped
my neighbor out.
It was easy. You know what I'm saying?
You gonna help your neighbor out this weekend, Slow-Mo?
Hell no.
He's gonna wave you over. Hey, Slow-Mo, come over, help me again.
Nope. But like, I ain't hear a thing. Somebody said something. I go in the house. I'm going crazy out here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I heard somebody asking for help. I don't know where that came from.
That frostbite's getting to me.
I'm not helping you out now, because like when it's like softer and it's just snow, you can just take the shovel against the ground and just kind of push it away.
Yeah,
just push it towards the edges and then lift it and throw it out of your driveway and your stoop and your front porch. When it's freezing rain, sleet on top of the snow, it's you can't push it anywhere. You just gotta pick it up, walk it to your grass and throw it out. I'm sorry, no, I'll be doing that all morning. So and I'm not for that right now.
No, I hear you.
I do want to say to anybody that's listening that either knows people in Texas or anything. Shout out to you guys because I used to live in a state. When I was in school at Florida, they didn't know what snow was about, and I know Texas don't know what snow is, and what they going through down there is just kind of ridiculous. So
yeah, that's
all our prayers out to everybody that's down there because I know how it is to be part of a state that really doesn't know how to deal with the situation like we do up north. And it's kind of it's a tragic thing. It is a life thing that just happens, but everybody be safe if you're in those type of areas.
Yeah, it's well said, Forte. Yeah, just thoughts out to everyone in Texas, and we know people in the gaming community that are in Texas right now.
Absolutely.
Fame, who who's been tweeting about it. J-Dub is also out there. I talked to J-Dub behind the scenes, make sure he was okay. But it's crazy. It's wild. It's crazy to see this happening, and seeing people like in shelters now, and compound that we're in the middle of a pandemic. And even though the
failure of leadership, honestly, let's keep it a buck. It's a failure of leadership, and the infrastructure was not where it should be for this kind of stuff. And it's not even that. Yeah, okay, of course, you're Texas. You don't expect to see this kind of stuff happening. With this kind of weather that like your homes weren't built or designed to withstand these kind of temperatures and this kind of snow and the heaviness of that on your rooftops and stuff. But for them to not have power, not have running water, that's other that's other infrastructure stuff that, like, I was just watching a video earlier that was talking about how they just failed all the way around in getting that done, and then you got your governor out here blaming on stuff that's not even implemented yet.
Oh, it's the windmills. It's the Green Deal. That guy.
Yeah. That's not even. That's no. Like the stuff that you're saying you need to rely on is the stuff that has failed, and it's failed because you didn't do your due diligence to make sure that stuff would withstand additional pressure, and so it's just. It is what it is, man. It's awful. I hope and pray the people out there are being safe. And if you need to leave your home because it's not safe and need to get somewhere where you can be dry and warmer, then do that. Do whatever you gotta do to get you and yours safe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No doubt. So, all right. On that note, we are out. Everyone, stay safe. If you're in the DMV, stay safe because we're getting bad weather. To all our gamers, everyone, actually not just gamers, but everyone in Texas, please be safe. Hopefully all of you get your power back and water and stuff. I saw some crazy things in terms of like pipe bursts, power outages, but yeah, on that note, we're out. Everyone have a great rest of the week. We'll be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and who knows, like Forte said, I may do a BRAP rant and maybe about shoveling snow, which I'm sick of at this point. I'm buying a snowblower next year.
I already got one.
Yeah. Well,
hey, Enrique, look. I almost bought a snowblower like 4 years ago, based off the snow we had. I was like, I ain't doing this no more. I'm buying the snowblower. I'm telling you, I'm buying the snowblower as soon as it's summer, and snowblowers are super cheap, right?
That'll happen.
I forgot to do it, and we didn't get snow for like 4 years. So I'm looking at it like, man, if I would have bought a $500 snowblower and that thing would have sat in my garage, or
you'd been stuck like Chuck.
I'd been so mad. I spent all that money for nothing. So I'm like, you know what? I'm good. It's
one of those things that you have and just be happy that you have it. Don't
even
think at the fact that thing is going to. I was like, I hope I don't need to use you, but if I do have to use you, I'm going to enjoy every second of it.
Yeah. And I just want to make one more public service announcement, one more PSA, if you will, before we wrap up. The 19 numbers are going down. Please, everyone, wear a mask and stay away from each other if you can.
Yes, sir.
Let's drive this thing down, because the more this thing spreads, the more mutations we're going to see. And let's not roll that dice.
Yeah.
Let's try to get this
podcast.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
And wash ass. Wash your ass. Dingleberries up out of there. Wash it.
All right, we gotta go. On that note, hey, wrap up the podcast.
I'm gonna keep saying wild stuff. I'm gonna get wilder and wilder until you end it. Not only wash
Rap ain't got nothing to do with
the
podcast. And stop gatekeeping anime, okay?
Oh my God.
Wow.
That man got cooked on.
That man got roasted. Yeah. All right, we got to end the podcast.
Roasted by everybody. Yo.
Yes, he did.
Let everybody.
Even someone was like, "Wow, he really got roasted." All right, we're out of here.
Peace.